Today's video is the Minelab Equinox 800, the Coiltek 5x9 double D coil on a 6.5 inch die. To get a good realistic test, I want to do a factory reset. The Equinox puts everything back to factory defaults. Now I want to change the audio to where you can hear it, and that's all I'm going to change. I'm going to go over this first target, the 6.5 inch die. Park 1 doesn't have a problem. Very good audio and a target ID. But now look what happens when I change to a different set of programs. I'm going to go to Park 2, all things stock. Good audio, very faint but good repeatable audio, but no target ID. They can bump up its sensitivity to 22. Part 2. Audio stronger. Now I'm getting the target ID coming through. Go back down to 20. Now I'm saying all this, I'm getting to a point. So we're going to go to field 1. Stock program, audio, no target ID. Bump the sensitivity up. Audio and target ID. I'm going to go back down. I'm going to go over to Park or Field 2. Audio, no target ID. Bump the sensitivity up to 22. Let's go back down to 20. Now, I noticed in some of my notes that the original stock coil also exhibits the same attributes of low sensitivity. You get an audio on deep targets and no target ID. This is Park 1, so I'm going to reduce the sensitivity down to 18. Go on down a little bit further. Let's go to 15 on Park 1. Getting a faint audio. Now, that being said, if you're hunting in an area that has a lot of interference, don't fear to turn the machine down, to quieten it down. You may not get a target ID, but if you get an audio, that will tell you there's a target in the ground at that location. Even though the EMI is terrible, you've got interference from whatever the case is, and you're having to turn it down to get it to run. Don't fear losing targets. You're just going to have to listen carefully for some kind of audio. That is Park 1. Sensitivity 18. Very faint audio. Now, I wanted to finish up here by changing the frequency. The new update of the Equinox added 4 kilohertz. So this is supposed to be for larger objects, deeper. So let's change it to 4 kilohertz. And I'm going to bump the sensitivity up to 22. 4 kilohertz. Go back down to 20. And I What I want to do is go to part 2, because that was the one that was giving me the first indication I was getting the audio and no target ID. 4 kilohertz. Five kilohertz. Sensitivity 20. Part 2. Audio, no target ID, 10 kilohertz. Part 2. Audio is getting fainter. Kilohertz, 15 kilohertz. Part 2. Even more faint audio. And that's at sensitivity 20. So we can go to 20 kilohertz, part 2, sensitivity 20. Very, very faint intermittent audio. 40 kilohertz, part 2, sensitivity 20. Nothing. Which stands to reason your higher transmit signal should be for the lower conductors, and this being the dime is a high conductor. So I'm going to go back to multi. Good audio. Good target ID. So the next time the machine is acting up, turn it down, hunt, listen for the audio, whether it be faint or intermittent, and then turn it back up to check that particular target. Hope you have a great day.